Hello, I'm Sharella, and let's talk Deceptively Delicious. Getting your family eating more veggies. So, I don't know if you've ever heard of this book, but Jerry Seinfeld, the comedian, his wife Jessica wrote a book, Deceptively Delicious, which changed the way that I fed my family. It's all about adding and incorporating and hiding vegetables and fruits into your menus. So I loved taking this advice and trying to do this in a surreptitious way with my family. So little ways that I try to add vegetables in based upon what I learned from Jessica Seinfeld is if you just kind of grate up some squash, you can stick that inside your tacos and nobody knows it's in there. Or zucchini in bread, or even any kind of squash really in breads. You can stick zucchini and cabbage onto pizza and nobody even realizes it's there because everything else gets mixed up and it's just all a array of different things on top of the pizza. I love a good brownie or a cake, and why not just add a cup of pumpkin into it, and then you're getting your vitamin A and fiber and other good things that you get from squash. You can put all sorts of vegetables into pasta. So if you have a sauce, you can add cabbage or zucchini or a number of other vegetables into pasta, because in the end, pasta just has that cheese on the top and everyone just loves it no matter what, right? You can add applesauce for half of your fat in a baking recipe, which I do all the time. And no one can tell that there's applesauce in it or that the fat has been swapped out. But I feel better after eating it, and I think my family does too. If you have like a wrap, like let's say you take a tortilla and you add maybe lunch meat and cheese, you can add like any kind of greens, sprouts, hidden little cut up vegetables of all sorts into a wrap, and nobody has any idea that you have grated squash in there because it's all just kind of rolled up and they're just eating it. Well, so here are 5 tips for helping your kids get more vegetables into their diet, because it seems like kids are super picky. And I know that I was a very picky kid and I did not want to eat most anything you gave me. But now, as a full-grown adult, I like most everything. In fact, the only things I don't like are things that are too hot or spicy. That makes me cough and gag. Though I do like some heat, I can't handle super hot, like 7 out of 10. Or maybe some things like shrimp. Some of the seafood kind of rubs me the wrong way and it doesn't smell very good. But other than that, I'll eat almost anything that I'm given. And that's come from my figuring out little ways to like things. Like I used to hate chili and now I absolutely love chili. So here are those 5 tips. First of all, if a kid doesn't like vegetables mixed into something or with a sauce, then serve it separately. I remember one time when I had made some coleslaw and I just said to my daughter, just try it out. She was probably 8 years old. She's like, no, Mom, I can't eat that. So then I just pulled out a piece of cabbage and I said, okay, how about just eating this? And she ate just the cabbage and she loved it. And she said, I didn't realize cabbage was that good. And it's like we drown it in the sauce that's not healthy anyway. And so I always am game for serving the vegetables separately without that unhealthy sauce. Even though I think it tastes way better with the sauce, they don't. And so I just know that I just pull some of it out, and it's not like we have to force the kids to eat the unhealthy sauce. Just let them eat the stuff exactly how it is. So that's the first tip, is serve it separate. You don't need to even have a sauce. Just pull it out for them and let them have it separate. That's totally fine. The second tip is to try it again later. As I said, when I was young, I was super picky. And my kids have gone through phases where they just didn't like something. And if I just said, oh, they don't like broccoli, then I would have never known that 3 or 4 years later, they were like, broccoli's my favorite. Let's have that for my birthday dinner. So try it again later. How many mothers do I hear that say, oh, my kid doesn't like pears or something like that? And you're like, well, how long ago did they eat it? Tastes change and they mature and develop, so try it again. Third is treat the vegetable experience fun and enticing and exciting and more lighthearted. Like oftentimes my teenage kids will walk away with a plate that doesn't have any vegetables on it. I'll say, "Oh, you forgot." And they'll just grab whatever the vegetable is and put it on their plate. And they're fine. They're not like, "Mom, don't make me eat that." They're just like, they're just totally fine with it. They don't care. But they didn't care enough to take it. But I care enough to lightheartedly say, "Oh, you forgot your vegetables. Here you go." So be kind of lighthearted and just like, it's not that big of a deal. And here's a choice. If you don't like this, here's this. I always make sure that there's a choice. So if someone really doesn't want something, and sometimes they're not in the mood, and that's okay. Sometimes I'm not in the mood for something, and it's okay. So that's the third tip, is be fun and lighthearted and just gently encouraging with the vegetables. The next one is to serve it in a fun way, either in pretty dishes, or I like this bento box idea, because if something is served, if you have little pea pods and nuts and raspberries and stuff in this little box, how could you not eat that? You open it up and there's these little compartments. How could you not eat that? I'm going to eat whatever's in there, and so are my kids. So serve it in an enticing way. My daughter had these little shell plates, and she would eat anything on those shell plates. So it was a great way for me to have her try new foods. And then the fifth tip is to sub meat with vegetables. So if you have chicken somewhere, then go ahead and sub it with some zucchini, or I think about beans in place of meat, because you really can do that, and then you're getting in your fiber and your plant food. So meat tastes good, but it has hormones and a number of other things inside it that make it not so good. And so oftentimes I find that if I will sub vegetables instead of meat, we're not any worse for the wear, and we're getting the nutrition of the vegetables or the beans. So like if you have pinto beans or navy beans, or what else is there? Black beans or kidney beans can take the place of meat in your food, and that's getting you more plant. Now they say that you're supposed to have that beans with the carb like rice and black beans to be able to get the full protein that meat would give you. So make sure that you have that combination, except for some things like quinoa, that is a complete protein in itself. There are a handful of things that are a complete protein in itself. Also, if you have pasta, you can hide sweet potatoes and tomatoes into it very easily. I like to squish up pureed cauliflower into my soups, like creamy soups, and no one has any idea. Avocado fills up like meat. So an avocado is full of fiber and nutrients and good fats. And if you stick that into something instead of meat, people don't even hardly notice a difference. I've written down a couple of things we've had lately. We had black bean mango tostadas the other day, and there was no meat on it. We just had your round tostada taco type base, and then we added on there mango and avocado and black beans and angel hair coleslaw, and then put a little sauce. Well, my daughter didn't do the sauce. It was so delightful, and it didn't have any meat on it. Soups are super easy to add any kind of cabbage, lentils. If you cut up cabbage and stick it into a soup, hardly anyone can tell, because it looks like anything else. It just kind of disappear, but it's still in there. I made a veggie Greek pizza, and it had tomatoes, marinated artichoke hearts, and spinach, olives, pepperoncini peppers, mozzarella cheese, and white sauce. And we gobbled that up. It was so yummy. There is such a variety of ways that you can instill veggies into your diet. I subscribe to a e-meals program that helps you to know how to eat. I chose the plant-based selection, and I'm able to have new menus each week that I can choose from to be able to find plant-based foods. So there's no doubt I'm getting my vegetables just crammed into all the dishes. So how could you not help but get vegetables into your food? Most diets that you hear of, keto, just the various diets, are all still about eating your vegetables. Very rarely does anyone say, oh, don't eat your vegetables. Just think about that. Vegetables work in pretty much every diet. I've heard of the fruitarian diet where all you eat is fruit, but that's only good for so long because you still need other nutrients to be able to stay healthy. Also, our microbiome increases its health when you have a variety of vegetables in your stomach and your digestion. So it's a really good idea to have a variety of vegetables so that your stomach gets all the different microbes that helps build that happy garden in your gut. So I hope that this has helped you and that you can figure out ways to be able to implement deceptively delicious foods into your family's diet. If you want more on this, you can go to my program that teaches you how to eat better and move your body better and have more self-care. And you can find that at www.honeydewhealthin91.com.